Hello, and welcome to the Things I Want My Daughters to Know podcast, the podcast redefining women's health one unfiltered conversation at a time. I'm your host, Jacqueline Rose, and every week we will sit down with leading women's health experts and real women to share their lived experiences, bust health myths, challenge outdated and uninformed narratives, and explore what's really possible for women. We'll explore the truth around women's health, from periods to fertility issues, menopause, hormones, and aging, and everything in between, while sharing practical, evidence informed strategies that you can use to feel more connected to your body, empowered in your choices, and confident at every stage of your life. This podcast is for every woman who felt confused, dismissed, or left out of her own health conversation. It is a space to celebrate women, break the silence, and open up an intergenerational conversation between mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, and friends. Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Things I Want My Daughters to Know podcast. And I am very excited for today's conversation. I think we're going to go really deep into a specific topic, a topic that is really close to my heart. And I know that so many of you women listening, and I definitely know that your daughters, this is probably something that is really hot topic for you also. So welcome, Heidi and Amy. We are going to talk today about the issue of PCOS, polycystic ovaries, but a syndrome. That's the S part. Don't we love it that every women's health issue is a syndrome or a something or other? But we are going to really dive deep into this topic and talk a lot about women's health and really understanding what younger women are experiencing. Because, as you all know, my general demographic is those perimenopause, menopausal women. But I love that the fact that today we're going to be talking to a slightly younger demographic and understanding what their women's health experiences are, which I think is going to be super important to everyone listening. So, Heidi and Amy, welcome. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you do, and we'll get into our conversation.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for having us. We're really, really happy to be here. So we are the co-founders of the Khush Place. We're also sisters, and we have developed a female hormone supplement that addresses PCOS or PCOS and the underlying hormonal issues, addressing the root cause, really. That addresses a lot of the symptoms that come with PCOS as well. And yeah, we're really excited to have this conversation because we're so passionate about it as well from our
Excellent.
PCOS perspective.
Yeah.
So
And
let's start at the beginning. Pardon?
from our own journeys as well to
Exactly.
get
So let's start at the beginning and let's understand why you got into this space and what your own personal experiences were. So tell us, I mean, the end result is you have developed this amazing product, but let's go way back and start as why you even got into this space in the first place.
100%. I'll let Amy kick it off because it all starts.
It all started with me. So when I was in my early 20s, I had only experienced two periods in my life. And my mother decided that that wasn't normal and organized to have me go to see a specialist. I did a range of tests and got told at 20 that I had a 5% chance of having kids and just to come back when I wanted to have them because I couldn't have them naturally.
With the PCOS.
Yeah, so that was the day I got diagnosed with PCOS and asked what that was, what that meant for me, what do I do now? And yeah, they just said, come back when you want to have children.
And there
Not
was
deal
no conversation about what it means, how it impacts you in any other way, the fact that you weren't having a period may or may not be an issue. Just it was only related to when you needed to have kids, come back and see us.
That was it. And I kind of went, okay, well, I'm 20 and I've only had two periods. I think that's probably like a problem, right? Like you're supposed to get them every month. And the response I got was, you should be so lucky you've only had two.
Yeah.
And I think my mother went white at that point and just like shut down, and she was like,
Yeah.
okay, we're going. And
Yeah.
um, that that day really like kind of broke me because I
Yeah.
didn't have any next steps, any understanding of what that meant for me, how I was supposed to deal with this. Does my life change now? The only change that I knew was that I can't have kids naturally. And as a 20-year-old, that's not
Yeah.
really great support.
Yeah.
Um, so I
And I
spent the
also
next,
want to I also want to put it in the framework of, as everyone can see, you're not an old woman. You are a young woman. This didn't happen in 1970. We're talking
no,
about this happening in the last,
15
15
years.
years in Australia. We're not talking
Mhm.
about some far-flung place that doesn't understand, modern language, women's health issues. So I think that's just important to mention. This is a real life problem that is happening today in our society. We are not talking about a million years ago where, okay, fine, the 1970s, maybe they didn't really understand PCOS or sensitive bedside manner, those types of things.
100%.
100%. And we even went to like we made a point of going to see one of the best specialists in city. So it wasn't like just our random GP. He was meant to be a specialist in this area of female health and undiagnosed, treatments and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that was actually really disappointing because when you've gone to see the specialist in the area and
Yeah.
then they have no next steps for you,
Yeah.
I literally felt hung out to dry. So
Yeah.
um,
And also, sorry to interrupt you again, the fact that your identity as a woman and your identity
mm,
as a menstrual cycling woman was only connected to your ability to, or your need to have children.
mm-hmm,
Mm-hmm.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So then I went through a long phase of what Heidi calls my body rejecting me.
Yeah.
I couldn't eat. I wasn't sleeping. I was yo-yoing diet like crazy. I was eating
Yeah.
the same thing, but going up to like a size 12 and then back down to a size 6 in the space of like 6 months. I had the worst acne in my life. Like I'd never had really bad acne, and this was like cystic underneath. I'd just gone through so many specialists to
Yeah.
try and find an answer and was put on so many medications because then I was hysteric and it's just anxiety and you're just depressed. And
Yeah.
it was nothing, nobody tried to look deeper at it and why I was so upset about the fact that I couldn't eat properly
Yeah.
and I couldn't, like, you know,
Get a period.
yeah, I couldn't get a period, and why I'm so hyper stressed when I haven't had the toxins flushed out of my body for 6 months. Like
Yeah.
nobody listened, nobody understood. So then we skipped to kind of 10 years later, and my best friends had a really bad stint with not being diagnosed with endometriosis.
Yeah.
So I went through the whole process with her. She was living with me at the time, and I remember sitting by her bed in hospital and going, this isn't normal, like we can't just be coming back here and getting discharged with Panadine Forte and them saying that it's just your period pain. Like she was
Did
vomiting and then
you
like,
know? Did she know she had endometriosis? Was it suspected?
no. No, this was like our third time at the hospital. She had gotten such crippling pain that she had thrown up in the house, and I was like, okay, this is
Wow.
enough. We have to go to hospital now. So this was our third time around, and that was the time that I was like, we're not leaving here until I get somebody to refer me to somebody else because
Yeah.
like we can't keep doing this every couple of months. And that's kickstarted the process of me going, I think you might have either PCOS, like really bad PCOS, and maybe a cyst burst. That's why you're in such bad pain. Or you have something like endometriosis. And it took 5 more years for her to find out that she was diagnosed with both.
Wow.
Um, but it was me going, like, I've been through things like this and them
Yeah.
telling you it's normal. Like, this
Not
this
right.
isn't normal. Like,
Yeah.
you can't be telling me that this is normal.
And just to backtrack 1 second, in those 10 years, did you carry on? Like, what was your health like in those 10 years?
Terrible. I'd gone through phases of being diagnosed as overweight when I was a size like 10, 12.
Yeah.
And then I got put on really strict diets to come back down, and I wasn't losing any weight because it was because of my PCOS, that I couldn't move weight, and then I would get depressed because I wasn't losing weight, but I was doing everything that I should be doing.
And were you having a period at all
Yeah.
during that time?
I think I maybe had like 4, but then I had one year. I just I remember I got a period and I was so excited. It was April and I went, "Oh my God, I finally got a period. It's been like a year."
Yeah.
And then it didn't stop for 6 weeks.
Wow.
So then I had to go back to the doctor and say, "Help me, put me on something because I'm just like bleeding out." Um, and the only answer they had for me was a high strength estrogen pill.
Yeah.
And then I went back on the cycle of being on the pill and trying to get off it, and the anxiety and everything that came with that. So it was 10 years of dealing with one thing, like getting my food sorted, then dealing with my weight, then dealing with my mental stability, then circling back to dealing with my hormones and like just the surface level ones. And then I had really bad like vaginal inflammation out of nowhere, and nobody could tell me where it came from or why. And then it was consistently yo-yoing, and it was just disastrous.
And the underlining theme here is we're not really addressing the root cause.
Of course.
All these things are interlinked, and no one's saying anything about it.
Absolutely no one had put it together. It took a solid 10 years until somebody had put it together. And
because doctors are
kind of related.
Yeah, because doctors in the conventional Western medicine approach only really treat symptoms. And if they've got symptoms that are not treatable, you're the problem.
Yeah.
Not the fact that they haven't got to the root cause. It's that you're not responding to the medication. You're the problem. You're the issue. The symptoms aren't the problem. The symptoms are just the fact, that if you're not responding to the medication that is meant to treat the symptoms, you must be the anomaly.
Yeah. We'll just change the medication and put you on something else that will stick. And it never did. It never does.
Yeah.
So the catalyst for our business, how it flourished, how it started, was from Amy. I watched Amy do this for 10 years. Then it was I'm 38, 39 at this time, and it's time for me. No, 10 years later.
Oh, yeah.
It's time for me. I want to have a family.
Yeah.
So I'm coming off contraception. I'm doing all the things. I'm trying all the stuff, and I can't get a period for 18 months. And the doctors are still telling me it's because you're coming off contraception. Your body will even out when you want to have kids.
Did you have regular periods prior to all of this?
No, I didn't. No.
And you didn't have the same experience as Amy though.
I went undiagnosed until I finally got referred to an IVF specialist because I wanted to have children, but I kept getting told to do it naturally. You have to be trying for a year.
Yes.
Having a period's not a big deal until you want to have a baby. So come back to us when you want to have a baby. So I go back and they said, try naturally for a year. So I'm doing all of that. I'm trying naturally. I'm not getting a period. I'm not getting anywhere. No one's listening to me.
Yeah.
And the breaking point was the first test my fertility specialist did came back and she said, you have insulin resistant PCOS.
Yeah.
It was that easy. And everyone's telling me you're overweight. You have to do exercise. You have to try naturally. You've got to do all this. You've got to go on the pill. Don't worry. Go to specialist. So Amy's now watching me go through years of torture on IVF and it's not working. And I'm getting sicker and mentally sicker and more unstable. And it's not healthy. It's not good.
Yeah.
That's the catalyst for us to go, hey, this is far too common. It's happening way too much. There has to be something else. It can't just be ignored anymore.
Yeah. So, but when you got that diagnosis of insulin resistant PCOS, was there a next step? Was there a relief? Was there okay, now we know how to support you. Now we know how to treat you. We've got this diagnosis and that's now going to lead us down a path of, that actually is supportive.
No. In my experience, it could be different for other people, but in my experience with IVF, they just railroad over it. We'll just inject more drugs to get you
more medication,
more medication, more. It's not working. We'll try this more. It's not the underlining issue, like get your body healthy. It's let's just override it so we can force the pregnancy. And when you're in the care of specialists,
Yeah.
you think that's the right thing to do because you
Yeah.
don't know anything.
Because they're
No
the
one,
experts. They're the medical experts. They're
yeah.
the people who are meant to know what they're talking about.
Mhm.
They've done all these years of training. Surely they know, like, they know
Yeah.
better than me. I'm just going to sit here and do what I'm told.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was Amy watched me years of
I,
misery and torture and miscarriages and, broken relationships. And,
Yeah.
it was probably one of the most isolating experiences of my life. And I really did believe my anxiety at that time was going to kill me. I knew in my bones I couldn't do it anymore. And I wish
How many years was that for you?
I did that for 2 years for IVF, but the process before was another 2 years. So I'm going on 4 years now in this process of torture. And I had to just stop. I had to stop. And that's when we went to the discovery.
Do you think that I don't want to say anything bad about Australia, but in terms of the Australian perspective, the Australian approach, do you think it would have been different had you been living in another country, America or somewhere else? Do you think this is a across the board, the way that the medical field relates to women with these conditions?
It's 100% everywhere. There is such a lack of research, discussion, funding, everything. I don't think there has been a real shift, and it's been small, very small shift. I don't believe there's been a real shift until the last 12 to 18 months, in my opinion, what I've seen in terms of research and awareness and education. So for me, the IVF experience was only just a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's how severe it is still in the medical system.
Yeah.
There isn't that support. There isn't the right discussion. It is synthetic drugs. There isn't any other options for you to try and handle your symptoms and your life and your issues and anxieties naturally and really understand them and listen to your body. We're not taught any of that.
yeah.
And looking at, I know that you in your work and and I want to get into it a little bit, you sort of understand a functional medicine approach and a slightly different approach, an approach that I feel very passionate about also, where we're not just looking at the symptoms, we're looking at the root causes and asking those questions. Why are you experiencing this? Does that exist in Australia? Is there an understanding now with practitioners? Is there a growing field of this functional medicine approach in Australia?
I think it's definitely growing. I was really lucky to find a GP that would work through all of this with me and got to the end of all of his testing in his GP world and went, I have nothing left for you, but I want you to go and see this naturopath.
Right.
And that naturopath worked through everything with me, gave all of my results to my GP and overlapped everything that we had been through for the last 10 years. And he went, oh, okay, well, that makes sense to this now. And you see how this level is wrong, that contributes to all of this. And I was like, well, why couldn't you all put it together? And it's just not tests that they do.
Because they don't have the knowledge. It's not that they don't want to. They actually physically, medically trained doctors in a conventional Western medicine approach who go through 7 years of medical school and then fellowships and residency and this and that. They don't know this stuff. They haven't learned it. They don't understand women's health at all. And anything that is related to women's health is surgical, is around reproductive health, and that is it.
I actually have a very funny story about this with what you're just saying. I remember I didn't get my period and I was at my wit's end going to naturopaths as well, trying to get a period back because everyone said to me, you're lucky. Why do you want a period? And you don't really need it till you want to get pregnant. So I was doing the naturopath journey to just try and get my period back. I didn't know what else to do. I was trying everything. And I did a saliva test and I had a feeling my progesterone wasn't right because I wasn't growing the lining in my uterus for the embryo to stick onto. So I knew all this stuff. I'm doing all the research. So I did a saliva test. My progesterone's not existent, and I knew this. So I went to the GP and I said, I got all these results, and can you help me now? And they literally laughed at me. Yeah. I was so upset. I was like...
Because they don't know. One of the reasons why they don't do these comprehensive tests Like one of the things that I always tell my perimenopausal women is you've got to go get your full thyroid panel checked. TSH is irrelevant. Go get your full thyroid. And I know that so many will go to their doctor and the doctor will test TSH. And unless there is a valid symptomatic reason to check anything else, they won't. And they will say for two reasons. Firstly, because the reason they say is we don't want to find something and send you down a rabbit hole unnecessarily. Because if a number is off, it may not be anything, but we're going to end up going down a rabbit hole that is going to get you very stressed out that you don't need. But the second reason is because they actually have no idea how to interpret the results. So they don't want numbers on a page that they can't do anything with. So yeah, and the way that you were both treated, again, we're not talking about, a million years ago. We're talking about in very recent memory, in the very recent past, to be treated like that today by doctors is just criminally negligent. It's medical negligence.
I have to tell you, every single person I speak to has all got a period story about the medical system and gaslighting. And it really breaks my heart, honestly. It does. And these are the conversations where I want to be having this conversation. So we're not doing that anymore. We're not feeling sad about our periods, and we're not getting medically gaslit, and we can go in there empowered and say, no, I know there's something wrong.
Yeah. And also the whole approach, and this really goes to the root of how the medical healthcare system understands women's health, is be lucky, be grateful that you're not having a monthly cycle. Be happy you don't need to deal with monthly periods. It's such a perverse way. It means that by definition, if you are having monthly periods, you're suffering, you're struggling. It's a burden. It's something you have to deal with. It's something that is like such a pain in the backside that you've got monthly. Just be grateful you don't have it. It's such a warped narrative that is built into the system. And the girls are hearing.
Don't worry about it. It's going to be like it's a problem. Like And I now looking back and knowing what we know now, it's so sad that we're taught from a young age to hate being female.
Yeah. It's part of our DNA. It's part of how we're built. It's part of like who we are as humans. And then we get told like, oh,
to hate it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Dismiss
Periods
it.
are terrible.
Yeah. It's gross.
From a very early age. From a very early age.
Yeah.
It's the thing that brings life into this world, and we're told to hate it. It's like, what?
Yeah. The conversation.
And because it does have because so many women do suffer, and I will use that word suffer at the moment, with very classic common PMS, cramps, painful bleeds, and we're not told, you know what, if you do abdominal massage, you're going to feel better. If you take down your stress levels, or don't go out and party, in the lead up to your bleed, it will be easier. We're just told, pop the pain medication, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So this tragic story does have some light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah,
it does.
Share with us.
Well, where do we want to start? How we created it, where it led to.
So tell us what the Khush Place is firstly.
So the Khush Place is our health business. The Khush means happy. In Hindi. What we really wanted to create was not just a brand. We wanted a community where women felt happy and accepted into, where we can speak about it. So we're creating our own happy place that we really, really craved and needed in our darkest days. And through our own struggles, we've been able to create the solution that we needed and we want. And it's turned out to have incredible results within this space, the PCOS space. So through our journey, as you know, when you're going through hormonal issues, you're told, take this, and there's several different supplements. And it's generally always inositol based if you're got PCOS. So we went through a journey of going, okay, there's so many supplements and there's so much directed to just the insulin resistance. Yeah. But what about the mind and the rest of everything else that's going on in your body? Yeah. So that led us through the journey of research to put together all the best supplements that you should be taking for your body into one tablet. So you're not taking 10 different every day. Right. And that's really what led us into this journey. Was Amy was taking a cocktail of supplements, and I was suffering incredibly with anxiety and stress. Yeah. So we needed to find a solution that addressed the holistic view of your hormonal imbalance. Yeah. And that's what we created, Balance Me, which is our supplement, which is actually the first one in Australia to address all three areas: your emotional, metabolic, and your hormonal health, all in one. Wow. We're really, really proud to be leading the charge in this conversation and providing women with a solution that isn't a synthetic drug or medical gaslighting, or just it's just normal, you know.
Yeah. Or having to take a bunch of pills and walk around like a pill bottle all day.
And so what have the results been? What have people said about it? And I'm also really interested about the community that you've created.
So we originally created the formula to address PCOS, but it's had a bunch of other like fallouts from it, which are really great in that women are in the first couple of weeks clearing their brain fog, they're getting better sleep, they're seeing reduced anxiety, like better food cravings, like, you know, when you're working up to your period, all you want is carbs and chocolate. Yeah. So that decreases. Even women in the space of 2 weeks that haven't had their period in 6 months are getting it back again. Wow. Or one of our amazing stories that we can't wait to record and release to everybody is a woman. She was on the verge of having a hysterectomy because she was in so much pain. Yeah. And she got to her last end. She had it all booked in and she thought, I'm just going to try Balance Me and see what happens. She cancelled it. She's still still on Balance Me, hasn't had to have her hysterectomy, and she's happy, flourishing, living her best life. So that's like an incredible case study for us that she cancelled her hysterectomy and is now living a normal life. Well, yeah. Our sort of normal life.
And has this supplement been approved by the appropriate organizations? Yeah. Does it need to be approved? What's its official status?
Sure. So we spent quite a few years going through R&D with our team of consultants and specialists. We did a lot of trials and found an amazing combination. We went through all the TGA as well in Australia, which is the therapeutic goods for Australia, similar to FDA. You will have one similar over there as well. So we're really, really incredibly proud to have gone through all those hoops. Amazing. And been officially got the stamp of approval from the Australian therapeutic goods. And we have been launched to the public now in January this year. So it's been 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the Khush Place and the community that you've created, and sort of what you do, so the support that you give to women who are struggling in similar ways.
Sure. So we are really passionate about education first. That's where I lead the charge. That's what I'm most passionate about. I think knowledge is power. And I think knowledge would really, really help shape this conversation from a young age. I think if we learn about our bodies and we can learn to listen to our bodies, we can tell a much different story. Yeah. So for us, it's about education first. We do a lot of research, a lot of article writing. We cover a lot of new and upcoming things in the medical world, what's happening in research, what's happening within this medical space for the Australian community. We're only relatively new, so we've only been able to take a bite out of Australia first. Sure. And we're have plans to keep expanding throughout the end of the year. But it's not Australia only. Our community is open to anyone and everybody.
Right.
We're just based here, so we have our fingers here.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful community online. We have community events starting in person around Australia as well. So this month actually. So it's really not anything other than having a place to come and talk with women who really understand what you're going through, having a safe space to speak about what's going on, having someone who can give you information and empower you to get the answers that you are seeking, to help you learn about your body and what it's saying. These things are so important, and the things that we were never taught. I was never taught this, and now I have the knowledge to empower other women around me to learn about their bodies, learn about the system, learn about PCOS, learn about hormonal imbalance. What even is it? What even are the hormones in our body? All these things were never spoken about or taught to us. And I really want to lead the charge. And I'm happy to take it.
Yeah. And no, I think it's phenomenal. I want to ask, because you talk a lot about the work you're doing with the woman herself. Do you see your role at all in educating medical professionals? How do you see sort of that the medical side of things? Is it changing? Are doctors becoming more aware? Is anything happening that you can see in a positive way from a medical perspective, not from the experience of the woman herself?
So I'm not sure what it's like elsewhere, but in Australia, I think women have been quite vocal in this medical gaslighting kind of space. So the Australian government has actually put a lot of money into female health and hormonal research this year, including giving out like millions of dollars to endometriosis research, just endometriosis research. So we're hopeful that that is really the first step of the government taking charge in understanding that we aren't being supported and actually hearing us now and saying, okay, we need to be doing better and we need to be doing more. So we are seeing that change, but a lot of it has been a push from women just saying we've had enough. So it is amazing to see, but
now, I know that there are two statistics that I want to share with you. One is that we know that it takes anywhere from 5 to 11 years for a woman to be properly diagnosed with endometriosis. I think it's like 5 to 7 years or 9 years for PCOS. It's no better, really. The other statistic is that said that it takes 17 years from research to filter down to the clinical application between the doctor and the patient. That may be changing possibly, but even when there is research, which is amazing, for that to filter down for the doctor to be knowledgeable about that is sometimes not an easy pathway. But at least the patient, the woman herself, can take the information to the doctor and say, look, there is research that says X, Y, and Z. And I think another really important thing, and I'd love to hear your perspectives on this because you have had such ghastly experiences with doctors, is that if you don't feel that you are getting the answers you need from your doctor, you have every right to go and find another doctor. Like there is no loyalty. I think women especially feel very bad if they go and get a second opinion and like, this is my doctor and I should trust them. I don't want to betray the trust. And, you know, this is what they say. And even if it's at their expense, women should feel confident that if they don't feel comfortable with the answers they've been given from one doctor, they can go find another one. But as you both experienced, that can be a long, arduous, exhaustive process.
Well, I mean, not only long, I'd like to also add to that it's very expensive to go from specialist to specialist, especially in Australia. A lot of women aren't being diagnosed because they simply don't have the resources to get a diagnosis. And that's really a lot of the problem. And a lot of the reason why we wanted to create a space that, and a product, an option that was affordable and accessible. We're very, very big on that as well. We want to be attainable to any woman who needs help. So yes, of course, it is very timely, but it's also incredibly expensive. And you might not have the ability to be able to take charge and take power. So,
And also, if you are a busy woman, a young woman, either, a professional woman who's very busy, who has work commitments, maybe you have successfully managed to bring, a child into this world, either naturally or otherwise. You're busy, you're doing things. You don't have the time to go from doctor to doctor to doctor, whether it's a financial limitation or a time, resources, energy limitation.
Yeah.
yes.
100%. Once you're getting told multiple times that this is fine, it's normal, you just kind of give up, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
part of what we're creating in the community is giving yourself that empowerment to go, like, what you're with the doctor not knowing, like, all of the research, arm yourself with that research.
Yeah.
If you're not feeling like you're being heard and you feel like something isn't normal, then keep going, keep bashing down a door until somebody goes, okay, I'm willing to listen to you. It's so important to just have that information. And we are in a world now of you can find information at your fingertips.
Yeah.
So go charge with it.
And I think that is also why the conversation is starting to change, because we have got, information at our fingertips now, and it's kind of forcing people to listen.
It's forcing doctors to go, okay, maybe I need to research a bit more myself. Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about this, your journey and your story, and I'm so honored that you've shared it, because it's so powerful, and I think so many women have to hear it. But I want to get back a little bit to the biology, to the hormones, to sort of what we know about our bodies, what we don't know about our bodies, and really to ask you, what should women be paying attention to? What is it that we need to know about our bodies, about our hormones, about what's normal and what's common, and sort of our experiences? Sort of what are the things that women do need to know about, that we should have the knowledge about, that very many of us don't? And I will tell you that most of us don't have that knowledge until we are hit with a problem that forces us to learn about what's going on. So, as in your situation, you had something, as we all do. We only look to be proactive, and it's not even proactive, it's reactive when there is a problem in our bodies. So if we want to change that perspective, what is it that we need, that women, young girls need to be knowing?
Well, I think the first thing is that we need to be learning how to listen to our body first and foremost. Our body speaks to us every single day. We just don't really know the language yet. As when you can learn the language that your body's telling you, everything is easier to manage and sync with. There are always common signs to hormonal imbalance that we have been told are normal, but I'm here to tell you that they're not, because I know, I've done the research, and I have the product that brings me peace naturally, that I don't have these symptoms anymore. So the big ones that you're going to hear when you're younger, they're ones like the period pain. They're going to, affect you from going to school, cancelling plans. An unpredictable period is also a massive sign. Mood swings, we're always taught like, oh, she's just got PMS. Oh, she's just moody. But there is a reason to that. Every single week, our bodies are going to show different symptoms, and they present in different ways. So weight changes is crazy, and we're always told just exercise more, eat less, but that doesn't really work if your hormones are out of balance. Issues. Yeah, I mean, if you have teenage acne, it's hormonal. So why aren't we learning about our hormones to help with our symptoms that are coming out? So a lot of the things that we're told as young women is that it's just normal, it's just period, it's just hormones. But actually these things are warning signs to listen to. And I think the biggest thing would be to learn how to understand your body's language.
Mine is that, like, the first thing is to realize that we have 4 stages in our hormones every month, be that 28 days, be that 60 days, whenever you get your period. But listen to that. You're going to have weeks where you have energy, and you're going to have weeks where you look super fit. And then when you're coming up to your period, you're going to feel a bit bloated and moody. But you're allowed to be, because your body is getting ready to do something pretty drastic. So just remember to be kind to yourself is one of my things. And like, if you're feeling tired, you're allowed to be tired.
Yeah.
If you're feeling hungry, you're allowed to be hungry because your body is getting ready to do something that would drain anybody else, you know?
Yeah.
So,
one of the
and
things
PMS
that
isn't
just, yeah, one of the things that just has struck me as you were talking was we do get told the whole time, oh, it's just our hormones. It's just, you're just being hormonal. I've spoken a lot about embracing that phrase of being proud to be a hormonal woman. It's often used in a very derogatory way. We use it about ourselves. I'm so hormonal. I'm so this, I'm so that. It's sort of around that whole PMS experience, especially perimenopause. It's my hormones. Hormones are used as an excuse or as a justification, but justification is the wrong word, but as an excuse for what you are going through as a woman or as a put down. It's your hormones and your hormones are bad. And that's why you're experiencing this. Rather than understanding that it is our hormones that make us feminine. It is our hormones that allow us to have a reproductive cycle that, if we choose to, will allow us to get pregnant. It is our hormones that give us creativity and energy and all these different things, but it is used in such a derogatory put down way, really from the very beginning. I've got PMS, I'm being hormonal, I'm so emotional, I'm hormonal. This word, this hormone, this like hormones are to blame for everything that we're doing, everything that we're experiencing.
Yes, I would, I would love to have the day where women are just, I want them to be proud to be women and not it be a problem to be hormonal.
Yeah.
And I'm so freaking proud. I am. I love it. Yes, I'm on my period. And yes, I feel down. And I'm not afraid to say that. And that's the type of energy I want people to have from the second they know about the hormones.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
Use them as armor and take them into your day. Like, I know that I'm going to have my period next week, so I'm going to be relaxed this week. So this is my relaxed week. And when you're ovulating, you've got energy, like, take that. I've got energy this week, let's go. Like, use it as a weapon rather than a weaponized.
A problem to solve.
Yeah.
So I definitely have more questions I want to ask you, but because you brought it up, where are you both now on your journey?
Our journey?
I'd say I'm at complete. I love my journey. I'm so humbled to have learnt about my body, about what she's going through, about how powerful she is and how she armors me every day to get out there and do what I'm doing. I understand my body so much more. I truly, truly do. And that's just from going through this journey of hormonal understanding and balance. But I'm in a position now where I am dying to tell everyone and anyone I can how to get here. And that it's a powerful thing. I want to empower the women now. That's where I'm at in my journey. In terms of personally or just with my hormones?
I guess with your periods, sort of have your periods come back?
Periods amazing. I've got a great period every 28 days or 25 to 28 days.
Wow.
No problems, no period pain. I'm always stressed, but that's just my choice, my life, my business. That's the nature of startup. But I handle it so much better. With my anxieties are so much better with stable hormones. Everything is so much easier to tackle when you understand where you are in your cycle, in your life, with your body. But that's where I'm at. How about yourself?
I'm still working on my journey for my hormones. I need to still get my stress levels under control to keep myself at peace all the time. But I'm back into a normal cycle. I get them every 30 days now, or 32 days. They're what would be considered very normal kind of bleeds now, whereas they used to be, I'd have 2 days and then 5 days and 7 days and nothing or whatever. But still working on the journey of listening to myself. And now I'm researching more about what the next phase brings, because we're, moving into the perimenopause phase now, and how we can kind of stave that off, if anything, or how it transitions. I think that's the next thing that we need to look at for women going, either we have this diagnosis and then bam, you're in perimenopause or menopause. Like
Yeah.
what does that transition look like?
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting for us. But even in a business sense, like we make sure that our plans for the month are made around our cycles, so that when we have
Amazing.
energy, we do all of our recording. When we're going to be relaxed, we have a chilled office admin days. You know, we make
Amazing.
sure that we work with our hormones as much as we can.
Yeah.
Amazing. 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 That's exactly how it should be, without
Yeah.
any explanation, guilt, shame, judgment. That is just how it should be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, two women sitting here with PCOS who know about our bodies. We've listened to our hormones. We have no synthetic drugs in our body.
Yeah.
We only take things naturally, and we have a beautiful cycle.
Yeah.
So I want listeners to know that
It's
you're not
possible.
alone, and it isn't normal, and this is achievable.
Yeah.
Amazing. We're going to get back onto the synthetic hormones in 1 second, but as a contrast to that, you pioneered the use of lemon balm in your supplement.
Yes.
So can you talk to me a little bit about the connection between the emotional well-being and hormonal well-being, and that sort of mind, body, emotional, physical? I talk about it a lot. I think it's very strong and very powerful. You ladies have obviously expressed how your physical health impacted tremendously your mental health, and it goes, you know, in a loop, but goes both ways. It's sort of a two-way street. So talk to me a little bit about that, about the physical, the emotional well-being, the hormonal health, and sort of how Balance Me has addressed that.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So Melissa for us was a game changer for multiple reasons. As you've explained, it is nature's answer to both the period pain side of things and your anxiety. Melissa is traditionally used as a herb to address the emotional well-being and hormonal health in a supplement or a tea. It's used different ways. So what we wanted to do was not just address, like a lot of other supplements in the market will address just the hormonal or metabolic, which is your inositol. But for us and what we've been through and what we understand about hormones in our bodies, it was really, really important that we also address the mental health and the emotional side.
Yeah.
We know from our experience and our research that they are interlinked. In fact, women with PCOS have got a higher chance of depression and anxiety, and we both suffer from anxiety. So this was really important for us, and it wasn't done before. So we had to do a lot of trial to make sure that we could get it into an effective dosage within our supplement, and it was going to be at a level that would help with anxiety and the period pain. So most supplements will typically treat, like I said, the physical symptoms, but what we wanted to do was combine all of them together. In fact, we have combined all three, which is amazing, and addressing the mental health side as well. So we knew from our own experiences that we didn't want to separate them. Melissa is fantastic for your cramps, your anxiety. So they work really well in synergy together. And that was something that was really important for our brand and our journey moving forward.
Yeah, we tried a few different ingredients to try and deal with the anxiety and mental well-being, like ashwagandha and things like that.
So John's
but
water is also one of the famous ones.
Yeah, so we went through a range of all of the standard ones.
Yeah.
And then we came across, I think I was having lemon balm as a tea, and my GP actually told me that you can get it in a really high powered dosage. And I was like, okay, what's that? And it's Melissa. So we put that in, and we were the first ones in Australia to do it. So.
Wow. Amazing.
We're
And
really
you did
proud of that,
mention
actually.
that it has a lot of other positive benefits. And I'm wondering about whether you've thought about using it as a support for perimenopause or support for, you know, other women's health issues, like not specifically PCOS, endometriosis, but general irregular periods, PMDD, or other things. Have you sort of thought about using it in those areas?
Yeah, so I we originally created the formula for PCOS, but like I said, it's had amazing fallouts in that it does help women with PMDD and PMS.
Yeah.
And we have seen women that are going through perimenopause taking it, and they're it's because Melissa is such a great antioxidant.
Yeah.
I think it's slowing it down slightly, like their symptoms. So they're sleeping better and they're not getting as fatigued. And those first signs of perimenopause are sort of sliding away from them. So we're interested to see what it does do through like menopausal phase, but it hasn't been tested there yet. But definitely for perimenopause, it's an amazing addition. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, we actually even have women who have thyroid function issues.
Yes. Yeah.
They love it. I mean, the brain fog aspect, literally mums who are suffering like with their hormonal imbalance after having a baby, they love it because the brain fog and the the emotional just synergy is it's helpful as a bit of a booster for them. So I have mums that call me all the time like, the brain fog, I can sleep, I have energy, which is fantastic. So even the young girls, we've got teenagers who have got incredibly bad period pain, and they are finding that they don't know they're going to get their period, and they get it for a surprise because they're not used to having a period without the period pain. So that's also really incredible. I think when we did our market testing last year, we were like, wow, this does so much more than what we actually intended it to. It's doing incredible things for women from teenagers all the way through to menopause. It serves a purpose there.
Amazing.
And it's all because we're addressing the root causes of the hormonal imbalance. That's the key to all of this.
Yeah. And you've said this is totally natural. This is a natural supplement. This is not synthetic. We're not pumping ourselves with anything that we shouldn't be. We've spoken for so long and I've had so much of your time and you've shared such an amazing story, but I do want to just bring up the issue of the oral contraceptive pill. I don't want to go too much down a rabbit hole, but I do think it's a relevant conversation, to sort of a relevant addition to our conversation, because we all know that the standard treatment for PCOS or irregular periods or anything to do with women's health issues is you just give an oral contraceptive pill to your patient, to the woman, and everything will be fine. Everything's going to be okay because the pill solves everything.
Yeah, I actually did a really
what have been your experience with that, and sort of what can you say about that?
There's a lot we could say about that.
So my experience with the pill was going on it when I was like 16 or 17 for skin treatment, because everybody at school was on it, and they had lovely clear skin and I had like a couple of little pimples and I wanted them gone. I actually should have listened to my mum when she told me not to. But anyway, after I got diagnosed and got told, and then I was taking it because contraception, and I had a partner at the time, but after we got told, you've only got a 5% chance, then I stopped taking it. And then having to go back on it to stop bleeding really hurt my mental health. I had been clean off everything for so long. I'd gone on and off anti-anxiety and depression and all this sort of stuff, and I had been super clean for maybe 2 years, and getting told that this is our only answer was actually really stressful for me. So I think the first question I asked her was, when can I stop taking it? And she was like, why would you? I said, because I don't want to be putting hormones in my body just because.
It's just fascinating. It's so, when we're not going to go to the conversation about HRT, hormone replacement therapy, or menopausal hormonal therapy, because it's not our topic today, but there's such a conversation around that, but no one is having the conversation around the oral contraceptive pill. This is pure synthetic hormones. There's no bioidentical option for the pill. There's no, for HRT, you've got a whole industry around bioidentical and body identical, and it's all, it's not synthetic, but there are, it's, whether you agree or disagree is irrelevant. The point is that for the oral contraceptive pill, we know it is synthetic estrogen, synthetic progesterone if you're having the combined pill. This and women take it for years, 20, 25 years, and no conversation about what the repercussions of that are.
No, no, none at all.
Yeah.
Uh, and getting told that the only way to stop your bleeding for like 4 weeks solid was to have estrogen injection was like, are we real? Like we're in the 20th century. Surely
Yeah.
there's something else than just maybe this one will work. And then getting told, oh, just look at all of the side effects because the whole reason I was put on it was to start blood clotting. But at that time, we didn't know I had a heart problem, and that could have actually been really, really dangerous and given me a blood clot in my brain.
Yeah.
So, there's all these repercussions and going like these are all the lists of problems that might fall out from having this, or you can just see when the bleeding stops. And if they're your only options, like it's actually really stressful.
Yeah.
So then doing a lot of research on it afterwards
Shocking.
actually starts to make you mad about how it was created, why it was created, the testing that was done, and who was involved in those clinical trials, and how it got to market is actually infuriating.
Yeah.
Even more so is just, I mean, how they haven't, when they actually started testing on female cells was very, very recent. So the more you go into this journey of researching the synthetic drugs, were not just the pill, but any drug we're putting into our body, I encourage people to really understand what the medical research is behind those. We know from our field that not a lot has been done until recent years on female cells, or it wasn't even compulsory to test on females. So
there's been a lot of research lately, even about heart medications. Like they had found that they were overdosing women because they had never actually dosed it on a size. So they're just going, oh, a male is 100 and whatever kilos, and we'll drop it down for your weight.
Yeah, we know that about research. Yeah, we know that the Congress, the United States Congress, only said in 1993 legalized including women in research trials. It didn't happen straight away. And as we know, we said, that even research, when it does happen, it takes 17 years for it to come down into clinical practice. So even if we say that research changed their guidelines immediately in 1993, which we know didn't happen, you've still got to estimate 17 years. You're only getting into the early 2000s before any of that is actually possibly filtering down into clinical practice.
Exactly.
And we know that that so much of the drugs that were approved and that have been in use for tens of years were only tested on males, and the female dosage is a percentage of that because we're mini men. We know it's a very, very big problem, totally. I was going to ask you something, and now that thought has gone out of my brain. So we'll wait for it to come back in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my experience with the pill, if we want to go back, circle back, or the contraceptive, I couldn't take the oral pill. I was very bad reaction to it. I could get severe migraines and vomiting. So I went on the Mirena. I had the Mirena put in. And, I think the important thing, in my experience, the important thing to remember is that these synthetic drugs, your body forgets how to make these hormones. So you're pretty much replacing it. Your body doesn't even have to learn how to do it anymore. It forgets how to do it. So when you're coming off them, my body had not produced female hormones properly in 5 years. So it just completely forgot how to do it. And this is the reality. And I don't think it's
not talked about.
It's not really spoken about enough. Or the reality of that isn't really settling in for young girls, well, especially not for me. I'm not sure I would have really known what that meant at 25, getting a Mirena put in.
So and you're 100% right, especially for women who are on the oral contraceptive pill and who are breaking to have a bleed. They think, oh, I'm having a period, so it's fine. I'm just not getting pregnant, but I'm having a period. What you have said is 1,000% correct, that you are not having a hormonal ovulatory bleed. Your body, what you said is 1,000% correct. And the doctors do not say this. Take the oral contraceptive pill, but know that your body is not having a natural, organic, hormonal cycle. Your hormones have been stopped and everything is manufactured.
100%. And importantly, that monthly bleed is your body's detoxification. And you're consistently skipping that. And it's not a real period. Where are all those toxins stored? What's happening to your body? How is it reacting to that? These are all important things. It's why I say we have to start listening to what's going on with our body. And when you railroad over your hormones to the point where they're not even getting produced anymore, how do we know the messages that our body's sending us?
100%.
Also important.
Yeah. I remembered what I wanted to ask you. Have you heard of or seen the documentary, The Business of Birth Control?
No.
Okay, you both need to go see that. It was a documentary produced a couple of years ago by the TV show host Ricky Lake and the producer Abby Epstein. They've produced 2 documentaries so far. One is The Business of Birth Control and one is The Business of something else. They've got 2 documentaries, which is basically shedding light on these very big women's health issues. The Business of Birth Control is fascinating, and it's looking at all the negative experiences, lived women's experiences that are totally not talked about. So it's definitely worth you guys looking into and watching. Okay, we've spoken for ages and I really could speak to you for so much longer, but I'm very aware that we've spent a long time together. I'm going to end our conversation by asking the question that I ask all my podcast guests, and that is, this podcast is called Things I Want My Daughters to Know. And I guess I'm asking you what you want your daughters, your figurative daughters, goddaughters, nieces, that next generation of women, what do you want them to know? So that they don't, we know things are changing and we want them to be empowered with this knowledge and information that we never had. So this is my mission for doing the podcast. What are the things that you want the next generation of women to know?
Well, right now, I know we whisper about our periods. We don't talk about periods at work or at home. We hide our PMS. We suffer through menopause in silence. We're made as women to feel something of shame, I guess. So what I want is for the conversation, for the women growing up now to know that it's a celebration. Being a woman is a celebration, and it's not something to be silent or shame about. So that's really what I want, is the cultural shift, and the women to know below me that it is to be celebrated.
Amazing. Amy?
Mine is, it doesn't have to be like this. If you think it's not normal, it's probably not, and find somebody who will believe you.
Yeah.
Just keep going until find somebody who believes you.
Wow, very powerful messages. And I'm so honored that you both were so open and shared your stories with me, because on the one hand, it is beyond heartbreaking. And on the other hand, I look at you both today, and not knowing you, I would never imagine seeing the smiles on your faces and how healthy and well you both look. I would never have imagined the journey that you've taken to get here. But I know that you're doing powerful work. Where can people find you if your stories are resonating with them? Where can people go to follow you, to connect with you? Where are you?
We are everywhere. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're even on YouTube soon. All at the Khush Place.
Amazing. I really recommend. Pardon?
Yeah.
If you DM the Instagram, you'll talk directly to Heidi.
I'm always on the socials. I'm always ready to talk to anybody who needs to just have a chat. I've been there. I know it all. We are led with passion and purpose. 100%. it's
Yeah.
always a safe place here with us at the Khush Place.
Yeah.
And if we aren't the people to help you, we will find people that can.
Amazing.
You never
Thank
ever
you,
have to do it
ladies.
again.
I'm so happy that I got to meet you. I'm so happy that I got to share your story with my audience. Thank you so much for being such lights in your journey and in this story. And everyone, please go check out the Khush Place wherever you are on social media. And thank you if you want to reach out to Heidi or Amy, connect with them. If you want to tell me your thoughts about our conversation, all the contact details are in the show notes. And I look forward to seeing you all at another episode of the Things I Want My Daughters to Know podcast.